Welcome to yet another edition of the Full Force News Burst, brought to you by GeneralsJoes Reborn.com, with me as your host, Chris, how to train your crouching tiger hidden Dragon McLeod, aka Diagnostic 80. Joining me today to talk about the news that Dean Deblois will be writing and directing the upcoming Hasbro and Paramount Pictures Micronauts movie is Paddy Entered My Dragon into the next Blarney Stone eating contest, Lennon, and Justin Dragonslayer Bell. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this news burst. Yesterday, The Hollywood Reporter broke the news that filmmaker Dean Deblois, famous for the How to Train Your Dragon series, is going to write and direct the upcoming Hasbro and Paramount Pictures live-action Micronauts movie. The film seemed to be wallowing in development hell for a few years at J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot production company, and even had a script written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who reportedly called it a departure from the comics. In an apparent U-turn, Hasbro and Paramount have switched their crosshairs onto Deblois, who famously helmed the animated trilogy of How to Train Your Dragon movies. We don't know what this new take is going to look like just yet, although we have heard that it will focus on a group of intergalactic explorers. Paramount and Hasbro are seeking a family-friendly tone with Micronauts, and believe Deblois could bring to the project the same heart and sophistication that he brought to his previous offerings. The date for the film has been set for a June 4th, 2021 release. I'll start with you, Paddy, on this one. Interesting choice of director for this one. He's in the past, obviously he's done the animated How to Train Your Dragon stuff, and now he's getting into kind of live action with Micronauts. I mean, what are your thoughts on Deblois as an option for writer and director at this stage?
I actually think he's a pretty good choice. I've watched the first two How to Train Your Dragon movies. The first one is an animated classic.
Yeah.
The second one's all right, and the third one seems to be okay. I haven't seen it. So, he's done one really great movie and one okay movie, which, when you think about it, is a better batting average than the Hasbro movies I've had so far. So,
I don't know, the Justin Bieber movie was pretty good. Was it him that did? I think it was John Chu that did that, wasn't it?
Yes, it was,
yeah. I'm kidding, by the way. It was terrible.
No, you're not.
I'm not. No, I love it. Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting. I think it's an interesting angle to go with. But again, what about you, Justin? Do you think it's a positive move for them to get this guy for Micronauts?
Yeah, sure. I mean, by all accounts, it looks like they're aiming for a kind of a family-friendly sort of angle with the Micronauts film. So I think he certainly has that pedigree. So yeah, I mean, why not? He's got kind of this unique combination of being able to write and direct both. So, why not take advantage of both skills and get him involved? I think it's a good idea. One thing that I do think is a little interesting. I mean, it's obviously he's a pretty different stylistically than some of the other folks involved with some of the other Hasbro properties. So this kind of seems to put a little bow on the fact that this is going to be any kind of combined universe story. But, I think his involvement in Micronauts specifically, I think, is a good thing.
Yeah. And coming back to you, Paddy, on this one. So the project before we've got this Deblois information was in development with J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot for a number of years. It had, I think, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick had a script for it. They said it was going to be a complete departure from the comics. We've seen Micronauts animated concept art. Again, that's kind of in the works still, and probably is going to be coming out again kind of through Hasbro. And also I think the guys that are working in your neck of the woods, correct?
Well, Boulder have finished about 2 seasons worth of episodes of that.
Wow. So that's kind of in the can, ready to go then.
It's sitting there on a hard drive somewhere in Dublin city centre.
That would be amazing if that was the case, wouldn't it? That would be great.
Actually, my understanding is that is the case from talking to a couple of people who worked on it. It's just like they've got 40 episodes ready to go.
Wow. And
it's just they haven't been given a commencement date yet as to when they're going to start airing it or where.
I mean, do you think, I know, just out of a hunch from your side, do you think there's going to be any connection between the animated cartoon and this idea, or do you think it's going to be kind of a little bit separate at this stage?
I can't imagine so, because that cartoon was being worked on 3 years ago, by which time they've gone through 2 or 3 different versions of this Micronauts film script, because they've announced their man today as writing the movie as well.
Yeah.
So presumably they're getting rid of the pre-existing scripts and treatments and so on that they had from the other people you mentioned, that Bad Robot were involved. Presumably this guy, if he's a writer-director, has his own concept and his own take on it that he wants to do himself.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like he's pitched this, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Justin, have you seen the Dragons movies?
I saw the first one. I have not seen the others yet.
You haven't seen Enter the Dragon yet?
Kidding me? Enter the Dragon is the best dragon movie ever.
Or Dragonheart.
I actually like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon personally, but if we're going to get into dragon movies, I mean, do you feel positive about this being like a pretty decent movie from Hasbro? I mean, what do you have any thoughts on the Micronauts kind of universe as it is?
Micronauts is one of those few Hasbro properties that I actually never really latched onto. My biggest devotion, if you can call it that, to Micronauts was, when we're doing some of those Japanese import toys, probably 15, 20 years ago, I bought a bunch of those, but I don't know anything about the history or kind of the legacy or anything like that. I don't have any real attachment to it. So, I mean, it's, I certainly think it could be a good thing. I'm not really deeply invested in the lore. But I'm interested to see kind of what they do with it.
You and 99% of the rest of the planet.
Exactly, yeah. I think he's got kind of a clean slate, so I don't think too many people really care a whole lot.
It's a good point. I wonder if it's going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy for Hasbro. But
that is one way they could take it. That would at least would be fun. A team of intergalactic explorers. I'd be down for that.
Yeah, same. And again, like you get the feeling that you've already got that, I suppose, as precedent, haven't you? So that's something that's successful, it's worked, and that's probably something maybe that was in the pitch that maybe caught Hasbro's eye. I mean, it's all speculation at this stage, but that is something that could be quite interesting anyway. And finally, Paddy, are you positive on what could come out of this as a film?
He's a good director and he's a good writer. I'd be quietly hopeful that he'll come to the table with something worth watching.
Cool. Okay, well guys, thanks for jumping on and chatting that literally breaking news. I think it was just literally a few minutes ago that it popped up, so thanks for jumping on, really appreciate it.
No problem.
That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Thank you to my co-hosts Paddy, Lennon and Justin Bell. See you next time, and as always, full Micronauts or Spaceverse or whatever. What's the Microverse? That's it, full Microverse. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/The Full Force, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback or questions. We have also started a Patreon page, so if you want to see your name up in lights on these videos or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.